I'm just gonna straight up say it. One Punch Man Season 3 might be the worst anime adaptation I have ever seen for a popular work. Like, at the very least, top 5. Like, the top is what we got in the anime. The bottom is what we got in the manga. The top here is what we got in promotional materials for the anime. The bottom is what we actually got in the episode today. This is a strange filter they like using for a lot of scenes. I'll get more into that in a moment. The top is obviously from the anime. The bottom is from the manga. This is from the manga. This is from the anime. This is, apparently who worked on the episode this week. So, yeah, there's a lot to really just, unbox for this episode of One Punch Man Season 3. And I'm just gonna straight up say it. We all knew that episode 6 would not be good. We were all aware of this. I mean, after 5 weeks of just absolute dog shit, I mean, it's to be expected at this point. But the thing is a few days ago, I even made a video on it, that the producer of One Punch Man Season 3 even went on record to say that episode 5 and episode 9 is the best that One Punch Man Season 3 is going to look. And after what we saw episode 5 look like, there was no hope that we were going to get anything better. And so, episode 6 was more or less, we expected it to be pretty much the same as episode 1, 2, 3, and 4, and maybe somewhat of 5. But, I'm not gonna lie, episode 6 might be the worst episode so far of the season. Like, it is actually atrocious. Like, let's just get right into this. This is a very important scene. And I'm going to try to play some defense here for the anime, actually, which is strange, I know, but I want to play some defense. At the end of the day, anime can't perfectly replicate the art style of a manga. That's a given, because obviously a manga has an author slash, artist that is able to dedicate a lot of time to just one specific panel and image when they release it in a chapter. As for an anime, it's a show that is continuously moving. There's so much movement in between frames and different cuts that obviously dedicating a lot of time to just a 1 second frame is not ideal. It's not something that is realistic, so to speak. So yes, most of the time, or often, it's a very common thing within anime adaptations that the art will not hold up to the manga equivalent. It's a common thing, even for the best anime adaptations that we've ever seen, always the art, for the most part, is better within the manga. But the point here is that One Punch Man can't really have this excuse. And the reason for that is because it's pretty much just still frames. And we all know it. We all watched the episode. If you watched the episode, we've all seen season 3. It is nothing but still frames. And you have still frames that sit on the screen for like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and this time adds up. And so when you have these still frames that are sitting on your screen for a prolonged period of time, obviously the art should theoretically look better, because if you're not animating a lot of hyperactive cuts and movement, then the still frames better look good. And up to this very point, up to episode 6, the still frames for the most part have looked passable. They've looked pretty good. And I've even said multiple times in my videos I made for the last 5 weeks that One Punch Man's art, at the very least, has been relatively amazing. Like, it has probably been the best art we have seen for One Punch Man since season 1. Like, it's really good. I'm not talking about the animation, I'm just talking about the art. But now, the art is even starting to get just destroyed. Like, you could just actually see the destruction or the active breaking apart of the production of One Punch Man Season 3 on full display now, because now the art is not even able to keep up at all. It is just looking absolutely atrocious. And if I had to take an educated guess onto why this happened, like why this type of stuff is happening, it's most likely because of who was working on this episode of One Punch Man Season 3. So apparently some of the team members that worked on Uzumaki Episode 2 apparently was working on this week's episode of One Punch Man Season 3. And if you don't know, if you haven't watched Uzumaki, it's, let's just put it this way. It was laughed out of the room. People mocked it, memed it. I even made a video on it. I talked about it. It was not good, okay? It was a very, very poorly done episode. And there's a reason why people try to black hole Uzumaki and act like it doesn't exist as an anime. Because it was not good. And that team that apparently was working on that worked on this episode. So when you factor that in, you're like, okay, it's all coming together. Why it looks so bad. Now, here's the thing. This panel on the bottom is very highly detailed, and I would be willing to give it a pass for the most part within the anime adaptation. The problem is that there is multiple examples throughout the episode, where you can see that the art is just flat. It is not even trying anymore to actually be consistent with body proportions or trying to keep on character model, trying to make them look the same as they do in their manga equivalent. Like, so look at this scene real quick with Genos. This entire segment right here is a actual still frame. Like, here, I'll actually show it in the episode here, because it happens literally, like, right here, around, like, 18 minutes. So, basically, Genos and Fubuki are going into Saitama's apartment, they're meeting up, and as you can see, they go in, and it's just basically very low-budget tilting of the character behind, you know, Genos, and it's just pretty much a long, prolonged still frame right here. Oh, just look at, dude, it's just, the body proportions and the consistency, it's not good, okay? It speaks for itself, it's not good, and here's what Genos is supposed to look like. This is what he actually looks like. It's just, the art is no longer good. Like, the last thing that was redeemable about Season 3 has now been thrown out the window. Not even the art is good anymore. And when you see something like this, it's just like, they can't even get the depth perception right. They can't even get the facial expressions right. It's just like, oh my goodness. Like, look at my man Genos at the top there. It looks like my man is just, like, just sad. Like, he's just depressed. And when you look at the bottom one, it looks like he's just more curious on what's really going on. It's just, dude. We gotta talk about this as well. This weird filter. A lot of people within the community have been talking about it, and I really haven't dived into this too much, but I want to finally get into it. Because when the filter first really started to appear, it appeared when we saw Garo have blood all over him. And I talked about it a few weeks back, that maybe the reason why they did the filter was because they were using it for censorship purposes. For instance, they were trying to hide the blood because obviously broadcasting reasons. That was my assumption at the time. But now we have had multiple examples just within this episode, and this isn't even all the examples from the episode, but basically, there is multiple moments to where you just have regular panels or regular scenes that should be fine, have this weird filter thrown on top of it. And it's like, why are you continuously putting this filter over these scenes? It doesn't look right. It mismatches, like, the tone or vibe, and honestly, it inherently makes the scene look worse. And I'm just like, what's going on with these filters? Like, a really good example of this is honestly this. It's like, this is a complaint that many people have had, myself included. Like, the top is promotional material. It's obviously a finished scene, and it was done a long time ago. The bottom is what we got in the episode, and we've already seen examples up to this very point that the staff that's working on One Punch Man are willing to put in promotional material into the episode. Like, they straight up took, like, the action sequences from Garo from, like, the trailers and stuff into the anime. But for some reason, they cut it and made it look a lot worse. And this is another example of that they took a cut from promotional material and they just made it look worse. Like, it just looks less detailed, and then they put this strange filter over it that just looks awful. Like, look at the top real quick. You can see, like, the wrinkles and the age within, you know, the man's face, and then you go to the bottom, it just doesn't look good. It actually just makes his face look more decrepit, or makes him look like he has a weird square chin going on right here. I mean, he always kind of did, but it looks really more noticeable, especially with the shading. It's not a good look, and I just don't know what they're thinking by doing this. There's no way someone sat down at their desk and looked at the promotional material and then looked at this as like, oh, this is fine. It's just like, this continues my ongoing theory that they are trying to actively sabotage this series to raise enough stink to either cause a problem for Bandai Namco, or Bandai Namco is wanting them to just destroy the series. One or the other, because it's like, this is not good. This looks really freaking bad. And that's not even getting into, like, just the episode in general and kind of some of the issues it has. Like, this is one of the things I wanted to show. So, at the beginning of the episode, the opening sequence, you get to see, you know, a reused still from the centipede, you know, monster at the top. That was from Season 2. And in this episode for Season 3, they literally took the image from Season 2 and pasted it on frame in this episode right at the beginning. And so if you're wondering why the model looks so good, it's because it's straight up from Season 2. They just literally copied it and pasted it into the frame, which is fine if you're limited on resources or you need to do something, but it's like, it showcases just the spread thin nature of this production, and that they don't even have enough time to even redo a scene of the centipede and make it look good. Like, they had to literally go back to a previous episode of Season 2, a better season, and paste it into the episode. That's bad. That's really bad when you gotta keep reusing those type of cuts. So this scene right here I'm showcasing felt very off to me. Like, out of every scene within this episode, this scene really felt awkward. Like, it was a conversation between Fubuki and Genos, and it felt like it was jumping from one scene to the next. Like, you could literally see them outside the door, and then suddenly, within mid-conversation, they're inside of Saitama's apartment. It's a very awkward transition sequence, and it felt like there was something missing in between there. And someone's post entered my feed today and reminded me of what was actually missing. It was this. So, for those that need context, that scene where you see Fubuki walking, like this scene right here, where she is walking up the steps, like she starts talking to Genos, and then as she's talking, you see her engage in walking up. This is what it's supposed to look like. It was supposed to showcase Fubuki walking up to Saitama's apartment like a princess, like with a princess dress, raising up, you know, her dress and all that, walking up and having the conversation. But you can see in the anime, the conversation is just straight up flat. It doesn't look good, and there is just literally no passion poured into this scene whatsoever. And this is a really good example of the corners being cut within the anime adaptation, that you have these beautiful frames or moments that showcase movement just completely being cut from the anime adaptation because they're trying to jump from one scene to the next. It's like, as a lot of people have complained about, I've even mentioned, they're coloring manga panels, and then they're just leaving it at that. They go from one scene to the next because they're coloring manga panels, and they're leaving out any in-betweens, and so it's left up to the imagination, and it doesn't look good. But the thing is that that doesn't work in an anime setting. It doesn't work with animation. It works in a manga because you're reading it, and it's black and white. But when you're watching an anime that has movement, having a transition from one scene to the next like a manga panel does not look good, especially when you're even actively removing panels that showcase movement within it. Like, for instance, what I just showed with this Fubuki panel. So, it's really bad. Like, the very production of this anime is just getting worse. And that's not even getting into the slow pacing, which is inherently just an issue in general with the manga, actually. There was a lot of complaints about this when the manga was coming out, that the pacing of the manga felt very slow at this point. I remember complaints of it. I love this moment and these moments, don't get me wrong, but it was slow pacing, especially with the release of the chapters. There was a lot of complaints, and don't act like there wasn't. And I feel like the anime is amplifying these issues that the manga had and making them a lot worse, because obviously you have very slow pacing, bad art now, bad animation, not really good looking fights, and obviously a community that feels very tired at this point. It's just, everything is actively working against the story in the series right now, and obviously it's causing a lot of people to drop the story because they just don't want to deal with it anymore. And when I look at this, it's just like, Episode 6 is the worst episode so far, and like I said, I would definitely say probably top 5 worst popular anime adaptations I've ever seen. Like, obviously there's worse anime adaptations, but I'm talking about high-profile projects. Like, I'm talking about stuff like One Punch Man, Demon Slayer, One Piece, Naruto, stuff like that. I'm talking about big titles everybody recognizes. One Punch Man is not small. It's not a niche series. It's not a low-level slice of life or light novel series, game series. It's a big, popular series. I have to say that this is definitely one of the worst anime adaptations, at least in the last 10 years, I think I have seen that is this bad for a popular title. It is not good. Like, the only one that just instantly comes to mind for a very popular title that isn't niche was Tokyo Ghoul. But even then, I don't think Tokyo Ghoul is as popular as One Punch Man. I hate to admit that, but that's the truth. And that's one that really comes to my mind. Obviously, The Promised Neverland wasn't good as well, and so was The Seven Deadly Sins, but that's why I said top 5. But this one right here is just really bad, and it's getting worse. And once again, they've already went on record to say that it's not going to get any better, and Episode 9 is the last best episode of the season. So, yeah. I'm at that point now where I'm just so tired, I feel like I want to drop it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it feels very bad. It just feels awful. It's just not good, man. But I'll leave it at that. If you enjoyed my video, please subscribe, leave a like, and leave a comment. Helps with the algorithm. Love you guys. Chibi out.